Let's go. Let's do this.
Good
Look at this. We
morning,
got a
good
crew.
day, good evening, good night, wherever and whenever you're listening to this. Welcome to the Bitaxe Townhall. I'm One Glue, your host, and I'm really happy to be here. Today, we're writing the Town Hall number 57. And with me on stage today, again, is Scott. Hey, Scott, how you doing?
Hey, Wonklu. I'm doing good. Thanks, man. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for running this amazing town hall week after every other week.
Well, the next one is maybe going to be a little bit interesting because I'm still going to be in the United States.
Ooh, yeah. That is a good point.
So next Friday, I'm gonna fly over to uh, Duncan, and then from Duncan, we're gonna fly over to Vegas for the Bitcoin conference, and we will stay there till Saturday, I believe. So either we're gonna have a town hall from Vegas or wherever we headed to, or how long are you staying in Vegas?
I'm going back home on Friday. So
Dang.
I will I will be back home for the town hall on Saturday, but it's a significantly shorter flight for me.
Yeah, well, it's about 11 hours for me. So it's gonna be interesting.
Have you been to Have you been to Las Vegas before?
I've never been to the US before.
You've never been to the US before. Oh man,
No.
and your first trip to the US is to Las Vegas. Oh boy. This is gonna be You are in for a treat. Las Vegas is ridiculous.
Well, so far there hasn't been any reason for me to come over to the US, so
Well, uh yeah, I mean, I don't want to blow for you. Yes, Hex Fox is right. Vegas is wild. I don't want you to get the impression that that is what all of the US is like,
no, I do
'cause
know
it's
it is
not.
this weekend trip city. I do understand that, but I mean, in the end, we are still there for a mission to be on the Bitcoin conference over there, so that's gonna be a hell of fun. Uh, I'm on stage 2 times. You are on stage, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
Yeah. Yeah, two times as well. And we're going to be on the HRF stage too, right?
Oh yeah, okay. So I'm 3 times on the stage. I'm sorry. I'm gonna do a workshop. I'm on the discussion stage and with HIF. Totally forgot about that. I Yeah. I don't know what to expect there, to be honest.
Um, lots of things. It's a big entertainment city. There's definitely lots of gambling, lots of slot machines, lots of big flashing lights. I've never been to the Bitcoin conference in Vegas before, but I have been to it in Miami, and it is an enormous conference. Yes, yeah, it's like they take every opportunity to put slot machines everywhere. It's like you get off the plane in the airport and it's like slot machines right there.
Mm.
So,
Well,
um,
I don't really get slot machines. I think I played them once at a local casino like a couple of years ago. I was just throwing in one coin. I lost, and I was like, okay,
yeah,
that's stupid. I don't do it
they're
again.
pretty stupid. They're yeah, they're very stupid, but there seems to be a lot of people that like it. It's
Yeah, probably.
you'll see people just sitting there at a slot machine just pumping in pumping in quarters or whatever, and they don't even like pull the arm, right? They just push the button. It seems to be a trend. I guess at the one thing though is if you're at a casino and you're like playing at one of the machines for any length of time, they will give you free drinks.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah, but they're like, the shitty well drinks. So, anyways, we're gonna have a great time. I'm stoked to get to hang out with you there. I mean, this is
It's been a while since we met.
yes, that's right. It's been a long time.
Over two
So this will
years
be
now,
cool.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, over two
Damn.
years.
It's a long time. Man. What happened?
I mean, so much has happened. Like, it's hard to even wrap my head around all the stuff that's happened with OSMU and all these open source Bitcoin mining projects.
It's
It's pretty
wild.
crazy.
But before we do dive into them, let me quickly get it out to the people. I do see a couple new faces in the audience. It's awesome to have you here. These town halls are usually for you. It's a bi-weekly event driven by people for people, I'd say. And this is your place to come in and ask questions if you do want to. Be aware these town halls are recorded and later on uploaded. So if you want to ask your questions on the stage, just be aware that your voice is going to be recorded. Otherwise, there is a message button or a chat button on the right-hand side of Discord, which you also can use to just interact with us and have some questions, whatever you feel like. And for everybody who's listening later on, we do have lots of information on pages, bitaxe.org. We have the osmu.wiki page. We have the osmu.xyz page. So there's plenty of things out there for information if you're just seeking information. But I'm really stoked to see a couple of people joining us here live. So let's get going with things. ESP Miner recently is kind of a little bit wild. I mean, I do have, I'm trying to do it every now and then with Hexfolks and Touchroom. We're having like a conversation in the general voice chat here where we do talk about recent PRs, what we do think, and what we're gonna merge and so on. So things are going well. We have a couple of things gonna be merged. A really, really old one is going to be merged very soon as well. The PR 420. Nice PR, by the way, from the number. But Adam West it's insane what's happening in this PR. And the enormous amount of information and thinking you need to put into that to understand everything, especially because not everything is in this one PR. You need to look into other issues. You need to look into other repositories as well to understand the full picture. It's kind of wild, but we're now at the point where he finally resolved all of the conflicts that there were left, and it's probably going to be merged in the next week.
Shout out to Adam West for digging into all those technical details. I know a lot of it has to do with the non-scrolling space, which is obviously we don't have any documentation for it, so it's all reverse engineering stuff. So shout out to him for doing that, but also shout out to him for sticking with it for,
Yes.
I mean, over a year, right? It's like ESP Miner has changed so much. I'm sure keeping that PR up to date has been a lot too. So yeah, we appreciate it.
It's a really technical thing, and you need a ton of knowledge in so many different categories. So it's kind of insane. In the end of the day, all of these things that he just changed there are logical steps that you would do if you knew certain things. So it's really great to have him. It's a pleasure to see that people jump by, do change a couple of things because they know better, or they do see what's wrong at certain places that other maintainers don't see, like myself or like Matachum or Xfox or who else is contributing. Yeah, it's wild. I don't want to go into detail because it's a really specific topic, but it should improve the non-search space that we do use. And if we think about how ESP Miner is currently working, it's kind of wild that we even found some blogs with it, to be honest.
You mean it's not perfect?
I mean, like we are throwing away a ton of search space because of the lack of hash rate. So it's understandable.
Yeah, I remember we had we merged some changes way back in the day, before PR 420. We merged some of these non-space search changes actually and released those changes in ESP Miner, and there was like immediate backlash because the hash rate was lower. So there was an incomplete understanding, I guess, of how it worked.
Yes.
Myself included, right? It was like, oh, great, this non-space is increased, but we didn't have as solid a testing procedure back then. We certainly didn't have all the excellent work that STS Miner has been doing with testing. So I'm excited to finally get that in there. But of course, we got to test it.
I mean,
like I mentioned
it's currently
before,
being extensively tested. So yeah, it's just a couple of things, but Yeah, ESP miner, especially these days, is kind of wild if you think about it. We do have it's an assumption from the numbers that we from time to time receive from manufacturers, somewhat around 100,000 devices out in the wild, at least from the BitX. On top of that, all of the NerdX family devices, Bitforge, and what else is out there. So it's kind of a huge number of things that are going on there. And like these days, if we do change things, I mean, in the end of the day, yeah, sure, it's an open source project. Everybody can hop in and hop out, and unless you're getting funded by a corporation or anything else, nobody's getting paid for it. So it's kind of a wild thing that we do have such a huge possibility of change. Like if people update, it's in the tens of thousands of people who are going to use that. So we need to make sure everything does work correctly.
That's right. That's right. This isn't just a small little project anymore. Turns out that people really want to do this, and I mean, it's a good problem to have.
True, true. Well, you earlier, before we started this recording, said that you are working on something quite nice when it comes to open source. Do you want to elaborate a little bit into that topic? What are you currently doing?
Yeah. So I the name that I came up with so far is the amp miner. Uh, but basically, I've been playing around with Mujina. Mujina is a an open source mining firmware for Linux based control boards, essentially. But I've been playing around with getting Mujina loaded onto stock amp miners. And I got a random assortment of amp miners here that I've acquired over the past couple years, and they all have Amlogic control boards. So I started with that one. Of course, amp miners can come with a variety of different control boards. I think there's Xilinx, there's Amlogic, there's CV Tech, and maybe more. But anyways, so basically, I got figured out how to set up the Linux image on the Amlogic control board so that we can actually load our own software onto it. That it doesn't normally ship in a way that you can load your own software onto it. Bitmain has it slightly locked down, but with the help of my friend Codex, I was able to figure out how to get my own code running on there. And there's a bunch of different things, recompiling the kernel, but I got Mujina running and working and mining from a Amlogic control board. That's the stock control board on an S19J Pro. Like it works. It's pretty rad.
That is
But one of
insane.
the
Are
things,
you, just quickly, a quick question here. Are you using Alpine Linux, or and what kind of distro are you hopping in there to use that?
it is, so there's a, well, okay. So it turns out that Bitmain used a sort of a reference design Linux distribution for their control boards. So, and that is like loosely based on Android. And so that's what I've been working with so far. I would like to have it essentially to just be vanilla Linux. I'm not quite sure if Android is the way to go or not. That's not even my area of expertise. I know that Ryan knows quite a bit more about that than I do, but we're basically using a version of what's on there for distribution wise. It's BusyBox. It's like very stripped down. BusyBox and Dropbear, typical embedded Linux stuff. But I was able to figure out how to recompile the kernel and get that customized kernel on there. And through that, I was able to actually enable the USB port that's on the control board. It is normally just used for flashing images, and it can only flash signed images. But it turns out that we can, through a combination of changing the kernel and the device tree, we can enable that USB port to be a normal USB port. And so that's what got me really excited in the last few days, was having that USB port. Because now we can attach things that we want. And so the first thing that I figured out how to attach was a USB Wi-Fi dongle. I know the Ethernet bros out there will be sad, but I kind of like to use Wi-Fi on my miners. So I got that working. And then I also got the touch display from the Bitaxe GT Touch connected over USB and working. So that's sort of the basis for the amp miner idea, is that it's a Wi-Fi connected stock S19J Pro with a touchscreen showing stats and eventually sort of configurability of the miner over the touchscreen.
I saw that you're using an old image of mine.
And oh, on the touchscreen?
Yeah.
Well, I started with the most recent version, but I took out a bunch of the stuff because the all the communication is happening over the BAP now,
Hmm.
using Wi-Fi on the ESP32. So it's a little bit different. I was working with Ben on this. I originally wanted to have this was Ben's idea, and we were hacking on it together. It was pretty fun. Is to have the ESP32 provide Wi-Fi to the amp miner over USB. I was able to get it working, but it's pretty flaky. I'm not sure if that's a problem with the firmware on the ESP32 to provide sort of USB Ethernet. But it was kind of neat. You could like use the touchscreen to configure your Wi-Fi network, and then it would connect to Wi-Fi and provide USB Ethernet over what's called ECM. It's like a USB Ethernet adapter profile. So that worked. That it might still work in the future with some more banging on it, but uh, it was super flaky, and there was like really high ping times for what I got working. So I switched to just attaching a small USB hub and connecting a like regular USB Wi-Fi dongle and the BAP touchscreen to that. Developer, developer Algo, you must be one of the Ethernet bros. Yeah, I mean the board still has Ethernet on it, so you can use that if you want. But I'm kind of a Wi-Fi maxi over here.
Well, I'd say it depends. Some people do, some people just prefer Ethernet. It's kind of what I think. I
Yeah,
mean, if you do have like 20,000 cables dangling around, I do see problems there.
yeah. I mean, I have the only place where I have 220 volt power is in my laundry room in the garage, and I don't have Ethernet in there. So all the testing I've done previously, I like have this super long Ethernet cord that I like drape across the house to get it out there. Um, so I don't know. I like Wi-Fi, but the cool thing here is that it's a stock control board. So there's Ethernet there. You can use it if you want, or you can use Wi-Fi.
I'm
So that was fun. It's working. I posted some pictures of it working. It's very hacky right now. There's a bunch of stuff that I just like vibe coded hacked into Mujina to get it working. But I know that Ryan, the lead dev on Mujina, is actually working on like doing a better job of integrating support for this stuff into Mujina. So that will uh, that will hopefully come shortly.
It's gonna be interesting. I mean, the biggest problem there is to see if you can get it working in such a way that you just need to, because I do know that some of these control boards they do offer the micro SD card slot, and I'm not sure if the most recent ones still do, but some of the older ones they did. So it would be kind of neat to have a firmware that you can just load onto this SD card and boop, flash it.
Yeah, yeah. So the trend from Bitmain seems to be to remove the SD card slot. It's only the
Mm.
older ones that have that. But right now with the Amlogic control board, I can load the firmware from a USB flash drive. So you could just attach that and turn it on, and it'll automatically flash it, and then you pull it out. Um, the thing is that Bitmain released a new firmware sometime in 2025 that actually disabled that functionality. Um, and so What you'll have to do in that case is you'll have to connect the board over USB to a computer, put on a jumper on two of the pins that are on the board, and then you can flash it over USB. And then once you have that, now you can update in the future from the USB port from a flash drive. But we're kind of working against Bitmain here, who's trying to like lock out these different ways people load firmware on their control boards. Apparently, the newer machines from Bitmain come with CV Tech processors on there,
Hmm.
and I don't think they have an SD card, and I have not looked at those yet. But yeah, we can figure it out. Codex is really good at this stuff too, so um, yeah, I think at some point I'll try and get one of those CV Tech boards and see if we can do that. But the goal for or one of the many goals, I guess, for Mujina is to have ready-made images that can work on as many miners as possible, right? Bitmain, WhatsMiner, um, Canaan boards, all of that. So that's coming, and it's moving pretty fast now. I think there's a lot of people looking at this. There's a lot of excitement, and a lot of people who have done work on this stuff in the past, who are familiar with how it works, are contributing. So that's all pretty exciting.
It's kind of wild where we're headed to, right?
It's really wild, and it's getting wilder and wilder. It's getting so exciting, and it's moving faster and faster, which is cool. I mean, this is what we want to see. This is how we win. This is how we dismantle the proprietary mining empire.
Well, a little bit
Not just
more
with
is
this
still needed
Bitmain
to
stuff, with
that, but
Bitaxe too, right?
I mean,
What's that?
I said, well, a little bit more is needed to dismantle all of that bullshit, but in the end of the day, I think we're on the right track there with doing what we're doing.
Yeah, yeah. Schnitzel, who's been working on the Libre board, which is a fully custom control board based around the Raspberry Pi compute module, he had a cool post last night. Also, he got Mujina running on his control board that he designed, the Libre board, but he also got it accepts Raspberry Pi hats, so he attached a couple hats to it, and he was able to play Doom on his control board while mining Bitcoin, which is pretty legendary. It like has buttons on it, and it has a little screen, and he has
That's
this
insane.
separate
That's really so
little
funny.
LED display that shows like his ammo and stuff. It was so cool.
That is really funny.
So the question of will it play Doom is yes.
Well, I mean, you can also play Doom on a pregnancy test, but
Yes, that's right. I mean, I can't stop thinking about my first computer and how like much it struggled to play Doom. And here we've
it's
got,
insane.
like a toothbrush or a pregnancy test or whatever that can do it.
Well, in these
Pretty funny.
microprocessors that we're using and playing around a ton with, they're getting better and better. I mean, Espressif itself, there is there are rumors about a new one that is combining a lot of things that people want, like 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, Ethernet MacPi, etc., etc. It's
Oh, nice. A processor.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
I mean, they're
think
getting
I
so
think the
good.
S31 is the one that I'm talking about. Let me quickly see. Yeah, the S31
From who's it from?
from Espressif.
Oh, wow.
It's a dual RISC-V core with Wi-Fi 6, gigabit Ethernet, etc. It's
Wow.
yeah, it's
Oh,
gonna
that's
be a
so
wild
cool.
one.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to, I don't know. I guess it depends on how much it costs, but, move Bitaxe over to that at some point.
I mean, one of the biggest improvements that we're gonna see with the S31, if I mean, I definitely want to get my hands on one of these, is but it does have a significantly higher amount of GPIOs. On the S3, currently we do have roughly around 45 GPIOs that we can use. Um, a huge amount of them are not even really available to us because they don't offer what we need to from them. But the new S31 does have 60 GPIOs,
Oh
so
man, we're
15
gonna have
more.
so many. We're gonna have so many blinking lights.
Yes.
Duncan will be stoked.
Hopefully. Uh, it's kind of wild, and he especially being known for doing all of his crazy LED stuff. it's uh, it's probably gonna be fun.
That's gonna be really fun. Yeah, yeah, man, I can't wait. I mean, has it been? It's not released yet, right? Or
No,
it's
it's
not.
not released yet. It's just been
Okay.
announced by them. They have given out a couple of facts. It has been announced earlier this month, if I'm not mistaken. Like on the, let me see, Du-du-du. On the eighth of April, it has been announced. So, I mean, it states that Espressif has released it, but yet it's not available.
Yeah, they did that before. There was one other one. I think it was like the C6 or something like that, right? They announced it, and then it was like, I want to say almost a year before you could actually get it.
I mean, there are tons of things to think about it. I mean, yeah, K1 is right in the chat. There was a year about that, barely available. I mean, yeah, sure, you can go out there and announce these things so people can get hyped for it, but it's kind of hard if you don't even have a development unit or anything else to work with and tinker around. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see how long it takes. I do not assume to see any of them anywhere at stock by the end of this year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I was just looking at the spec sheet for the S31. It has Wi-Fi 6, but it's still only 2.4 gigahertz. I mean, that's probably fine for Raspberry Pi stuff.
Yeah, for most of it probably. I mean, and even if you want to hop over to 5 gigahertz, I mean, you can just put on a C6 as your Wi-Fi stack.
Yeah. Yeah,
They're
that's right.
they're so tiny, so I
I
mean,
was screwing around with making a display board for the Bitaxe Bonanza, and I wanted to put a RP2354A on it. Thanks to K1 for suggesting that. Um, and the Bitaxe Bonanza has a ESP32C3 on it, but I actually got it working where I can load the firmware on the RP2354 from the ESP32, which is cool. I always get worried if there's like multiple microcontrollers on a board, like how are we going to manage all this firmware? But doing the single wire debug from the ESP32 worked out pretty well. It's cool.
I mean, what's the current state of the Bonanza anyway?
The Bitaxe Bonanza 1002X is built up. I gave one to Johnny. He's been banging on that, getting the firmware working for it. He got the firmware working to support those BZM2 chips. He got it working for the Bitaxe Birds, but that was tethered to a PC, so that was working from Mujina. So he is working on getting that basically brought back into ESP Miner so they can run on the ESP32 on the Bitaxe Bonanza. Um, I want to get a couple more of these made. Now I know that the hardware seems to be working. I want to get a couple more of these built and get them out to people like you and Motatrum and people to help work on this firmware too, because it's different than the Bitmain chips. So
Yeah,
there's
it's gonna be a hell of an issue, especially reorganizing the entire struct that we do have.
yeah, yeah, that's right. I
Yeah.
mean, like ESP Miner has been very focused on Bitmain chips since the beginning.
Yeah,
So
well, but we opted into a design now that should it's easier than 1 year ago to build in other chips.
that's great. That's great. Yeah, and talking with Johnny, he seemed to think it wasn't going to be that bad, but it's
No,
also not done yet. So we'll see.
yeah,
Um, I haven't looked at it myself too much yet, but I was pleased. I mean, this is like the third major revision of a BZM2 design that I've done, and I'm pleased that the hardware seems to be working. Of course, it's not mining yet, but I can communicate with the chips. I can assign addresses. I can read their voltage and temperature, stuff like that. That all seems to work.
So you haven't got it to hash yet?
Not the new Bitaxe Bonanza. We got birds to hash,
Okay.
and that's a very similar design. It's not
Mm-hmm.
exactly the same, but it's similar.
Okay, I see. So yeah, there's this communication between the ESP and the RP 2040, or what are you using there?
Yeah, yeah. We're using RP2040 for the serial converter in there
Mm-hmm.
because the BZM2 chips have that lovely 9-bit serial.
The developer Algos wrote in the chat, the issue is going to be the BZM2 chips availability to manufacturers and devs. I mean, the current state, I would agree, yes, because so far there are a certain amount of chips available, and they have been sent out to a couple of people for free, as far as I do know. But the current amount of chips is limited to the US, which is wild. And there are some hopes and some sayings about that. It's hopefully going to be changed in the future, but at the current moment, we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the people in the US who got the initial chips, if they want to send them internationally, that's that's up to them. That's fine. So you can talk to them. There was 256,000 chips sent out to uh, a few people. Um, we're in discussions to get more. There certainly are plenty of chips, more than we'll ever need, brand new, sitting around. I don't have them at my house. I don't actually have room in my house for that many chips physically, but they do exist. We have sort of a soft commitment to getting those. So I think, once we can show that we have a use for them, I think we can get them. And the company that has them seems to be, at least has their hands tied. They can only distribute them to the US, but we can get them out to sort of uh, other intermediate distributors who will get them out internationally to international manufacturers who want to build these. Uh, I, getting Bitmain chips sucks. So I think this is going to be an improvement on that. So, you know, we can suspend your disbelief for now. I think this is going to be good. The pricing on them is definitely good. Um, Basically free.
I mean, what else should you say about that if you do get them for 0? I mean,
Yeah,
the only
right.
problem is going to be like, how's that going to translate over into the manufacturing process and the price in the end for the customer? I mean, sure, the efficiency is based, let's say, around the S19, S19J Pro, somewhat in that league. So,
Yeah,
yeah, maybe a little bit hard to argue why you should get that device, unless you can
I
argue
agree.
with that
Yeah, I mean, I think
device.
from like the high level, it's like, you know, the miner is still going to cost money because of all the rest of the parts that need to go into it. Hopefully, it'll be cheaper, but the hash rate and efficiency will be lower than the BitX Gamma now. So it'll be a little bit of an interesting product. We've been thinking a lot about different miners that can be made with this, like bigger ones with more chips, right? One of the downsides to doing like the Octax or the the Nerdax with like 10 chips, is if those are $20 each, you got $200 in ASICs in there, right? So that gets kind
Mm.
of crazy. So, maybe we can do some designs with more chips in there, right? If they're essentially free each, then that is a lower barrier towards making higher hash rate miners. Um, and then I think also another uh, project that I haven't really started, but we talked about it on the forum a little bit, is doing an ultra low cost miner. Think USB stick miner with one BZM2 chip on it, like just ultra low. Like, the thought was like for the cost of one cup of coffee, you could get a miner. Sure, it wouldn't be super high hash rate, but this is like, the original nerd miner level cost for
Well,
an actual ASIC miner.
I think that's kind of wild to achieve, especially if you think about the ESP32S3 display. You can get that for like $12, and even if you can produce it for a certain amount, it's gonna be hard to market that off and get it to the people. I mean, I saw that with the Nerdnos. The production cost on that is roughly, if you do produce up to 2,000 units, somewhat on like $12 a piece, but then still you need to sell it. You need to make a couple of bucks profit, so it's kind of wild. And then if you need to add in other things to control it, etc., that was even without a control unit.
Yeah, I mean that it's yeah, all the other stuff and the assembly cost really is the killer here. I think
Mm.
the idea for the ultra cheap miner, the like, the latte miner, right, is that there wouldn't be an ESP32 on it, right? This is a USB stick miner. Um, so it literally is just uh, a voltage regulator and then something to convert it to USB, probably like an RP2040 or something, right? Because those are like $1. Yeah, you still have the assembly cost to build it, but everything else is like, I don't know, $5 bomb cost kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, as developer Oliver was writing in the chat, the dev prices versus the actual manufacturing costs are very different. That's true. That's true. That is the main issue there. If you're trying to get, I'd say sub $20 for a miner, which is kind of wild if you think about it.
It is. It is pretty wild if you think about it. What we were talking about on the forum, and I don't, I know K1 has been working on it a little bit, but I don't, I don't know if there's any schedule or anything for it. Is like if this was USB connected and USB powered, right? We're limited to like uh 500, 700 milliamps, right? So you would even have to underclock the ASIC, but you could use like just a couple amp voltage regulator. K1 found a part that is like a voltage regulator is like $1. Or no, I think it was like 25 cents, right? Like a super
Mm.
cheap voltage regulator. It can just do a couple amps. You do like an RP2040 in there to convert the USB to the 9-bit serial data, um, and just see how much you can drive down the cost. Now, whether this is like a profitable product for people to build or not, I don't know. But it would be an interesting example, especially for devs who want to work on developing for the BZM2 chip.
Mm. So let's see.
Oh,
He's
is this
posting
the
that a 4 amp output. Oof, that is basically nothing. Oof.
yeah, well that's they're zero point 0.7 volts, so
Zero point
that
0.7
gets
volts.
us,
Oof. Dang. Yeah, not that much.
I mean that gets us what we need. So we're talking
2
5
point,
volts
2.8
at
watts.
0.5.
2.8
Yeah,
watts.
so I mean, we're kind of limited to 2.5 watts if we're powering this over USB. So
Oh my goodness.
that's definitely in the neighborhood.
That is
And that voltage regulator
definitely
is 26 cents in quantity one from DigiKey. This thing is cheap.
cheap. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, those TPS 546s are like $8, $9 each. So
I mean,
again, like
that
anything with
was
more power.
especially about the node that was one of the biggest issues out there as well. Like finding a voltage regulator that you can power over USB and still does have enough amperage. And I'm still stuck with 6 amps on the node so on the current version. I'm playing around with a couple other options there currently. I have a couple of boards laying around here, but other things are currently more important. So
Yeah. I mean, yeah, this would make a great nerd NOS too, right?
well,
It's
with
going to be an
4 amps,
improvement
yeah,
over
okay.
well, I mean, everything else the same as the NerdNOS now with the BM1397, just it's a more efficient ASIC and it's cheaper.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm waiting for it.
And I mean, for better or worse, the the Chinese cloners do not have better access to these ASICs than we do. So that is also an interesting scenario. It's like we kind of all have the same access to the ASICs, right? Like right now,
Depending on where you do purchase that, but yeah.
I mean these people that are making these knockoffs and like low quality clones, right? They can get those Bitmain chips for significantly cheaper than we can.
Mm, probably. I mean, if you do have the right context over there and you just need to, I don't know, walk one or two streets to a friend of yours and just shake some hands and you get it a little bit cheaper, it's probably going to happening there more often than we do believe.
Oh yeah, it definitely happens. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. Like they can get them for cheaper, but not for the BZM2, right? First of all, it's already free, so that uh, that is a factor. And I don't think the BZM2 is going to be available in Shenzhen. Um, not to the level that the Bitmain chips are.
Probably not. Yeah, you're right. Hmm.
Developer August says, "What is the lowest the BM1370 are going for in the underworld?" Uh, I don't think they're $1.50. I would be very surprised if there's real chips BM1370s for $1.50. Maybe some like busted used ones. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. But I mean, even used ones are going for $15 if you do purchase them. So
Yeah,
we'll purchase price for them probably sitting in the range of like $10 to $11. That would be my assumption. Maybe a bit lower in the single digit, but I have a little bit doubts about that. But you never know.
yeah. You never know. You never know. Some of those Bitaxe Gamma builds that are coming out of China are pretty cheap.
Hmm. True. That is true. Well, let's see. What else do we have to talk about? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you're getting BM1370s from a reputable seller in the US for $14. I don't think so.
Not really.
I would be very, very suspicious of a seller that can sell you BM1370s for $14. But again, if you have a contact, let me know. We can check it out. Uh, yeah. And then also, you know, there's some other players that are interested in this too. Been talking with them. I wouldn't say anyone really gets it, but Canaan has expressed some interest in selling their chips. We'll see. Um, Same with Chain Reaction. We'll see. It's an interesting market right now because I think a lot of their traditional big customers are pivoting to AI. So uh, does maybe this makes them more willing to work with us in the future?
Maybe. I mean, that's the hope, right? So that we can finally have something that is established that is working for more people and not just be this kind of weird yanked off thing that we currently do have. I mean, even though we do establish this kind of market of like, we basically enabled the entire ecosystem to build upon this. Plenty of people are stealing what we did and just try to sell it as their own one. But even that is a factor that comes with what we do. And that has never been happened before. So if we can improve that into a category that it is even been certified in certain circumstances from a manufacture of actual AC chips, that's gonna be a complete different story.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It really is. I'm looking forward to it. I think that's how this scales, right? Is we're not getting scrappy chips secondhand, third hand, but have a real partnership with an ASIC manufacturer. And I think it'll happen. It's definitely trending in that direction. And some manufacturer is going to do it, and it will be successful for them, for us, and the others will see what's happening. And I think eventually we'll get there. Towards this is the norm, is that you can get Bitcoin mining chips, with documentation from the manufacturer. It might take a while, but I think we'll get there.
Yeah, maybe. Right. I'm kind of trying to figure out what else we want to talk about because I mean, at the moment there's not really that much. Most of the things that are going on when it comes to the firmware for the Bitaxe are really technical things. Um, One not so technical thing is what I anticipated in the last town hall, that with the next release there will be a way to configure it a little bit more into your personal liking. So customize the dashboard. That is the first pivot point that we do have there. There are a couple other things also coming in there, but we successfully built GridStack into the front end. So with the next release, you're gonna do have the option to actually do like move around your chart or disable the view of certain information that you don't want to see for whatever reason. And yeah, that's the only thing that I could currently only think about.
I think that's pretty cool. And I saw you guys talking about yesterday, the idea of syncing your current dashboard grid stack setup with other bit axes. I think that's a pretty intriguing option, right? Especially
It's
if you have.
intriguing. I do have I'm pro and con at the same time. It's yeah.
I mean, I think, get it working first, right? But in the future, that could be kind of slick, right? It's like you could imagine people sharing their different layouts and setups. Yeah, Hexbox is intriguing but difficult. Sure, I get it. That's definitely not necessary for the first release, but it could be an interesting thing for people.
Well, well, it's
TRCJR says the scoreboard was a nice surprise.
yeah, the scoreboard, but I mean, I talked with Mutachum about it, and we probably will see that, at least from what I believe. My understanding of the community is that is running BitX, is that a huge amount of them will be confused about it because it's not really intuitive. It's basically a storage on your system of telling you some certain high key points of your mining device when it was hashing per nonce or even per block header if you do look at that. So it's kind of, I mean, it's a nice thing. I kind of like it, but at the same time, it's probably gonna confuse people, and they're like, "What the fuck am I looking at?" So we'll see.
I think that Bitcoin mining is, when you're first getting into it, is very confusing. Like the whole thing.
Yeah.
When we saw this when we added like the reasons why shares might be rejected. People were like, is just kind of breaking brains as to like what's going on here. Why am I seeing this? But I think in the end, it helps people to further understand how Bitcoin mining works.
Mm-hmm.
If they take the time to get into it and ask questions or read about it, uh, and that's good. Uh, and so, we've heard a lot of questions in the past about, oh, I was getting new best difficulties all the time, but now I'm not getting new best difficulties. Like, what's going on, right? And they
Mm-hmm.
don't realize that it's going to sort of, new best difficulties are going to fall off like logarithmically as you go on, just because that's the nature of uh, finding increasing difficulty shares. But if you learn a little bit more about how it works, I think that's a win. And so having the scoreboard there, you can see how it happened and when it happened. Like that's good. That's good. There'll be questions. There'll be haters. But you know what? Who cares?
It's gonna be interesting for sure. Well, let's see.
Yeah, and I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, to be honest, I don't really have any other topics here. I have nothing left.
Maybe there should be a book that explains stuff for new users. Yes, we should have someone write a book. It's a
Greg, I was reading your message. I'm just I haven't I like this town hall here is, yeah, for the way of how things work, like it's kind of wild thing. Treating it more or less like a podcast. I don't want to do explicit advertisements for things here that are, I don't know, can you call a book open source or not?
I mean, yeah, I guess the source is open source.
It
Uh,
is, yes. I mean, the book itself, technically as well, but um, the thing that I'm trying to understand for myself here is like, I have zero problems talking about this, but am I creating an exception now with that? Because it's kind of wild. Uh, Especially last year it started, but people are reaching out and like, hey, can you mention my products or whatever else on your town halls? I'm like, no, I don't do that because I want to keep it clean. But technically speaking, this book is explicitly around BitX. So for everybody who's now confused, Greg just asked me if I want to talk about his book, and now that we're already talking about it, um, yeah.
all right, Greg, what's your book?
So he wrote a book. It's called Bitcoin Mining with BitX: Complete Guide to Open Source ASIC Mining.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah,
That's pretty cool.
I was reading through
Is
that.
it published yet? Is it out?
It's published. It does have an ISBN. It's on Amazon. It's available. No, I don't say that. Cut out the last things that I said. It is available at certain places.
It's available. You can buy it. I think that's cool. I mean, the yeah, I think that's cool. Um, I want to check it out. I don't necessarily have problems with mentioning it.
No, I don't have a problem mentioning it. I just wanna. I don't know how to handle that, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess that is a good question. We haven't really talked about that. You know, is a book about open source Bitcoin mining uh, a proper topic for OSMU? I would say probably yes.
Probably.
Here, one of the things I was thinking about, and I haven't really fully formed this idea yet, but I was thinking about it, so I'll at least mention it. You know, back in the day, and I guess it's still around, but Bitcoin Talk is a forum, and all those posts sort of exist forever on the internet. They're like indexed by Google. And so a lot of times that'll come up if you're Googling a technical Bitcoin issue. Um, Bitcoin Talk has been around for a long time, and there's like a ton of bullshit on there. It's essentially not moderated. Um, but one of the problems I think we have with OSMU being a Discord is that it's not really publicly searchable, right? So I know, at least for myself, I feel like I'm answering the same questions over and over. So if we had more of a forum types, like message board type format that was on the web, that it would be indexed by Google. Clearly, that's not going to stop people from asking the same problems over and over, but um, it would be on the permanent record of the internet if we had a format like that.
Well, I mean, I kind of trying to do that with the OSMU wiki, but even that, it's probably a little bit too technical and not really answering common questions. That's the reason why I was working on this Bitaxe.help page. But yeah, I didn't even had the time to actually publish the repo that I do have because there was just some front end shit. But I'm lately playing with something that I do have a little bit higher hopes for, which is I'm creating currently a data set on all of the information that I do have to train an LLM. And the first couple of tests that I was doing, running that with a really small sized LLM, like 2.8 gigabits bytes, so that you can even run it on your phone, were more or less promising. It was hallucinating a ton of shit, but apart from
Yeah.
that, yeah. But if you would ask it like, hey, my LDO yada yada is broken, where can I get it? It would reference you over to DigiKey or other part lists, or if you just tell it, hey, this is the error code that I do see on my netqx++, what does this mean? It would tell you the correct answer. But I mean, I'm definitely not gonna host this myself. And I need to learn a little bit more about all of these data sets that I'm creating there. It's a training and progress.
I really like the Discord for, essentially chatting with people, right? And it's also useful for development, right? The BitX dev channel and the maintainers channel are incredibly useful. But it's more or less a chat type setup, whereas more of like a message board forum type thing would be for answering questions, but then also making that more organized, so that people could who have the same questions and are googling those questions or training their LLM on those questions, could, I don't know, just have better access to it. I don't know. It's an interesting idea. Like, it would still need to be moderated because there's going to be all kinds of nonsense, and we don't need to, like, support discussions on closed source mining because there's plenty of that elsewhere. But yeah, it could be a cool thing to set up at some point. Even if it's just for training future LLMs. But synthetic division reminded me of something I wanted to talk about. I feel like I've been repeating myself a lot about this on the internet lately, on Twitter. Um, the issue of copyrights and trademarks. Uh, it is it's an incredibly complicated topic, so I don't blame anyone for not fully understanding it. I think even if you even if you talk to lawyers, it's very much like in that gray area that lawyers love to charge you a lot to talk about. But let's see, when I created the Bidax name and logo in, like, I think it was late 2022, I trademarked it. So the way that works in the US is called a common law trademark. You basically just say it's trademarked. And that is when you see a name and it has a little TM next to it, that means it's trademarked, and you don't register it with anyone. You just say this is what I made and this is trademarked. And so the Bidax name and logo has been trademarked for several years now. Um, and at least the way it works in the US is that if you say you have a trademark and you're using it in commerce, which obviously is definitely happening with the Bidax, then you own that trademark. Um, then I mean that doesn't get you any enforcement over it, right? No one's going to sue someone else on your behalf or protect your trademark or go after anyone else trying to use it. And with a lot of proprietary products, obviously they trademark something so that no one else can use it. Um, that's not the case with the Bidaxe. The Bidaxe name and logo is freely usable worldwide for open source Bitcoin mining projects. That's always been
To
the
an
goal.
extent, for the logo has been written in a font that is not open source.
That's true, but we do have a license for it, and we have a license for worldwide usage for a logo. So, uh, yeah, you can use it. You can use the logo. You can't, you if you want to take that font and type something else with it, that's that's between you and the person who created that font. But the logo, the Bitaxe logo, which was created with the Angel Wish font, we do have a license to use that for a worldwide logo, and purchased that. Um, Shout out to Ben. We got that sorted out years ago. Yeah, so it's available. So I mean, it doesn't give you any rights to use that font for other things. Obviously, it's just the Bitaxe logo. Uh, I wish I had used a freely available open source font to do it back then, but it was made. It was actually the logo was made very quickly, in a couple hours, as I was getting ready to order T-shirts to take to Mining Disrupt, because I just was like, I need a T-shirt to wear to this event. So that's why that was made. I had these visions of, because it's this font style is called black letter. It's a kind of calligraphy, and I've always wanted to learn it. I got one of those pens. They make these cool pens that have like a really wide nib on them, and started to practice doing it. But this is one of these kinds of things it takes years to figure out. But okay, so back to the trademark thing. Um, yeah, again, this is just for the U.S. That's the only thing I have familiarity with is the U.S. system, and I didn't initially. I'm learning about it, but so we have the trademark, right? We have it's called the common law trademark. You have the trademark. You can use the TM logo, but one of the things that is not is a registered trademark. So sometimes you'll see logos and it has the R with a circle around it. That's a registered trademark. And what the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office does is they will, for a fee, you can take that and you can register that trademark. You're only allowed to do it if you own the trademark. You can only register a trademark that you own. It is illegal to register a trademark that you don't own. But what that does is it gets you pay a bunch of money and you get it with your name or your company's name in this federal database. And now it's searchable. So someone else who is attempting to trademark something or register a trademark for something can look in this database and they can see, okay, it's already registered. This is for like honest people. But the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office does not do any enforcement on your behalf, right? It is entirely up to you. And so that's where proprietary product companies, they get into lawyers and start paying lawyers a ton of money to sue people to protect their brand and stuff like that. That is not the intention. That is not my intention at all, to stop people from using the brand, from using the logo. It's just there's no method to put a logo into the public domain, right? There's no way to officially say this is, not trademarked or whatever, and like anyone can use it. It's like someone has to trademark it. So unfortunately, you have to trust me that I will continue to not stop people from using it. I don't see any other way around that. Maybe in the future, the trademark can be owned by a foundation or something, but foundations are still run by people. So yeah, that's where we're at with the trademark. Now in other countries, surprise, surprise, there's totally different rules in other countries. There's a lot of countries in the world. There's like 100 and it's probably like almost like 200 countries, right? And they're all going to have different rules about how trademarks work. And in some of these other countries, people have registered the Bitaxe name and logo. I don't know if it's legal in their countries for them to register a trademark that they don't own, but it's happened. And, it's incredibly expensive for someone or an entity to go to all the different governments in the world and like file legal motions to stop other people from registering that trademark. It's, yeah, it's a crazy world. I'm not really quite sure what can be done about that, but the fact of the matter is that the Bitaxe org, essentially me, uh, own that trademark, and we have publicly stated that it is available for open source Bitcoin mining projects worldwide. So, that's what I can do. I'm working on registering the trademark in the US. It's kind of a shitty process that is very expensive. That it also is very slow, like most government things. It takes forever. So working through that process, that'll be registered in the US. That doesn't really change anything because that's just a registered trademark. The trademark itself is still owned by Bitaxe.org and is freely available. So hopefully that clears stuff up for people. I've been meaning to write like some sort of article or long form blog post on how this all works, or at least how I understand that it works for people. And then not to drone on too long about this, but there's also the issue of copyright. Copyright is different than trademark. Copyright is also something that is common law. It's self-assigned. If you create something, you can copyright it. And copyright isn't so much like a logo or a brand. It's actual like written works. And this applies to like a book or software code. I think it can apply to like hardware designs. I'm not quite sure. But the way it works with Bitaxe is that when you commit, the code for Bitaxe has been written by several different people, lots of different people, and so they maintain those copyrights over it, and it's not necessarily assigned to anyone. Different open source projects do it differently. I know some have some language in there where no matter, if you submit a PR, whatever you've written becomes part of the main organization's copyright. We don't have anything like that so far in Bitaxe, so it remains the property of the people, the copyright of the people that wrote it. But the way that the open source licenses that we have work is that they use the copyright mechanism to enforce the open source license. It's called copyleft. And Richard Stallman has done a ton of writing on this. There's tons of stuff you can go read about how this works. But essentially the copyright mechanism, which is normally used to restrict people's freedom, in this case with copyleft, is used to ensure people's freedom. Basically meaning it is copyright with this open source license, meaning that the source code is available to everyone, provided that they follow the terms of the license. And so the people that don't follow the terms of the open source license are committing copyright violation. And there's hundreds of years of examples of what it means to do copyright violation.
Yet it's not stopping certain people.
It is not stopping certain people, but just because it is not stopping people currently doesn't mean it's not a worthwhile thing to have. It also does not mean that what they're doing is legal. It is still illegal copyright infringement, and there can be consequences for copyright infringement.
Yeah, well, I guess with that out of the way.
Yes. That's a really delightful topic, huh? Let's see. We have a couple questions. You can still use an open source font on the Bitaxe logo. That doesn't change the legal obligations. Is there a Bitaxe logo registered TM or just TM in the USA? So, I mean, I think what I was saying before, there's several places around the world where people have registered the trademark for the Bitaxe name and logo. That is not legal to do in the US. It's different in different countries. Uh, yeah, it's a quagmire because there's so many different countries. I mean, I guess
It's not only
governments.
that. It's also like, I mean, you do see a schema there. I mean, at least from all of the European countries where I've been checking on this, it's kind of wild. Primarily Chinese companies registering the BitX trademark, and it's not only that. They're going beyond that. They're doing the logo as a logo trademark. They're doing the name, then they're combining the name with different words. It's so wild. I mean, you wonder why there is NerdQX++ out there with not NerdQX++ on it, but BitX. It's just to trick people and to work around certain things. It is insane.
It is. It's really insane. You know, this is not a uh, a thing that is a result of open source, right? This happens.
To put it into plain
Uh,
text, this is a resolve of the shitty mind of human being. The humankind is a piece of shit, to put it into perspective. Because something like that arose out of that. Like if you have that low level of understanding of valuing what someone else did, well, you just walk through doors and you steal whatever you can because of your own profit. I mean, I'm speechless about such a behavior, and the only message I can leave to these people is fuck you.
yeah, that's a pretty good message for them. I mean, it does place a lot more burden on the end users to do the due diligence to see if they have a a real product, an authentic product. And we're not entirely used to doing that, right? Amazon gets in all kinds of shit because they sell knockoff stuff like all the time. Um, you can't just blindly buy things. There isn't anyone like watching out for you, right? You have to do your own research, or you might get scammed, right? And as we know, there's lots of scammers out there. You just got to be careful. Don't go out into dark alleys and just leave your money all over the place, right? Because you'll get scammed. It'll get taken. You just have to do your own research. And I think adopting that mindset is important for life, right? It's like not everyone has your best interest in mind. You need to understand what you're doing and what you're getting into, uh, to the best that you can. It's all very confusing, but what we don't want is the nanny state that protects you, right? Because they don't have your best interest in mind either. And while they may offer some protection, it is usually at the expense of freedom. So, that's that like famous quote that's, misattributed to Benjamin Franklin, right? Or whatever. It's like those who would sacrifice a little freedom for security deserve neither. So, yeah, just be careful out there. Demand open source, and a lot of these times, people that are ripping this stuff off, like they don't provide the source for it, right? So there's a surefire sign right there that you're not getting the real deal. Is if they can't provide you the source, then what the fuck are they doing? Like, why aren't they providing the source? Uh, it's usually because it's a scam or in some way limiting your freedom, right? Sure, maybe it's a little bit cheaper, but if you're not demanding open source, you're going to get something that you just don't know what it is. This is why I always tell the sellers who are on the BitX legit list, like you need to provide a link to the source for the open source miners that you sell. Um, it's that easy. If you can't provide the source for the miners that you sell, for the open source miners that you sell, then they're not open source miners. Like uh, it kind of is a pretty easy rule to avoid like closed source scams, essentially.
And I do see the thing that Synthetic Division was writing in the chat there, that Bolt was trademark squatting in the EU. Uh, I mean, I'm not that company. I have nothing to do with that. But if that would be the case, I've seen stupid people talking stupid shit, and I'm so confused how easy it is to spread FUD. There are people out there that try to do good team, and I think there are a couple good ones out there, a couple bad ones. The thing that I've seen, like, there was something happening, and certain people were screaming, especially on the internet, around that something is going on, and that a certain company that does have registered the trademark Bitaxe in Europe was taking action against other stores that this company find were doing malicious things. Well, why hasn't that happened to all of the other ones? Like, there are stores that are not on the legit list, there are stores that are on the legit list, and none of them has received any infringement or anything else. So why only this particular store? And I mean, I talked about this store in certain other uh, environments, in certain other groups, etc. And I mean, I clearly see why. If you're a company naming yourself like a product that you have not created, okay, that's one thing. If you create a website for that product and you name it exactly like that product, just with the DE tag, well, that is another thing. It's okay. Do what you want. But if you go out there and if you provide no information about your company, you put in a company name that is not legally registered in any country on this planet Earth, that raises a question. If you now put in the telephone number of a completely different store that is selling completely different product, that is a different question. If you're providing a tax identification number, like, I could go on and go on. Like, this store was basically that you took a look on the store website, you do 2 minutes of due diligence, and you think, okay, that's a scam. Literally. So I have zero empathy for the dude or girl or whoever is out there and is crying now because they do receive some shit now, some law shit, because they did bad things. This is what you get for that. Especially this store.
Yeah, they've been pretty dicey in the past, right?
Yeah, I mean, they had logos on the website about, like, we are legit reseller. They put in logos of the legit list, etc. Every sorts of things. So everything on this page basically screamed like, I'm scam. Yet now they receive their consequences and they're crying. I guess that is, I don't know.
It looks better now. Have you seen it now that it's back?
No, I haven't taken a look on it.
They applied because so actually this is an important thing for Bidax sellers is we're with the help of Derek, we're redoing the Bidax legit list to be completely backed by a GitHub repo so that everyone can see more transparency about who gets added to the list, who gets removed from the list, who doesn't get added to the list, etc. There'll be a whole Git PR for every seller with comments and transparency about who's on there and who's not. Anyways, bidx.de applied yesterday to be on it, and I took a look at their website, and it looks much better than it used to. That's for sure. You know, one of the things about the legit list is that it is not it's not like Yelp, right? It's not official sellers. It's not authorized sellers. It is meant to be a listing of sellers who follow the open source uh, guidelines, and we have those guidelines spelled out on the new legit list and the application form. Um, right? Things like linking back to the source code for the products that you sell, for the Bidax products that you sell. Um, and it's just meant to be a collection of sellers that follow that, right?
And
You
that's
know,
the only thing it should be. Like, As
Yeah,
you
because
said,
I can't.
we don't wanna nanny the people. Like, what the fuck?
Yes, we don't want to nanny the people, and to be honest, we don't have the resources to verify all these sellers, right? I mean, there could very well be a scam seller on there. Sellers change. They change how they operate. Maybe they start off legit and then they just stop shipping products. I mean, that sucks, but that is not the goal of the legit list to protect you from those sorts of things. It's to highlight sellers that follow the open source license and the sort of the listed best community practices for open source Bitcoin mining. Yeah, there's been a lot of drama around the Bitaxe legit list. It really sucks. I hope this new format will at least provide transparency about why people got removed, when they got removed, and for what reasons, and allow people to highlight, uh, issues that they have. Again, it's not going to become Yelp. We're not taking like reviews of different sellers. It's very hard to look at reviews and determine if this is true, right? Because I just don't know. I don't have any insight into their business practices. I've definitely had like shady things where other sellers are complaining about their competitors, things like that. It's like we're not playing that game. Yeah. So if you run a Bitaxe store, if you're selling Bitaxes and you haven't already done it, please go to github.com/bitaxeorg/legitlist, and there's instructions there for how to send a PR to get your store onto the new list. We intend to switch over to this new list next week, probably like Thursday next week. Switch over to it. So I want to get as many people, as many legit sellers. Yes, Sean, I got your PR. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, I want to get as many people on there. I also don't want to do it for you, right? The idea here is that the sellers themselves make these PRs so that the public can see, who's behind it, and if they need to be contacted in the future about something, they can be. Okay, here I'll type the link into the chat. There we go. We're also going to have a separate listing for Bitaxe manufacturers too. So if you are a manufacturer of Bitaxe and you're interested in selling them to other businesses, this is kind of like a listing. This will be a lot smaller list and it'll be a lot more chill. But basically, if you want to share with the bitaxe.org website that you sell Bitaxes and would be willing to sell them to other companies, you can be on the manufacturers list. So that's not quite finished yet, but that's also in the works to be a part of the new legit list. So thank you for doing that. A lot of folks only care about price and can give two shits about open source. That is true. That is true. Hopefully, it's like you say with Bitcoin, right? We're still so early. A lot of people don't understand what the hell Bitcoin's about. They think it's a Ponzi scheme, or they think it wastes energy and boils the oceans. There will never be a world in which everyone gets it, but the more people that we can convince that this is the right way and to get it, the better. So slowly, then suddenly. I know this isn't what you're implying, but I don't think that closed sourcing is the way to get there.
All right.
The right stuff does not apply in China. Yeah, that's for sure. They do not give two shits about American laws, but they do give a lot of shits about selling their products to American customers. So
All right.
that's essentially how these things are enforced.
I think we're kind of running out of time, especially
Yeah.
for me.
All right.
And
Yeah, I've been droning on.
it's all good. It's all good. We needed to talk about a couple of topics. So, yeah, I think with that we just close it up like that. Many things have been said, and let's see how the next town hall is gonna be, or if it is gonna happening even. Because if, then it's probably gonna be Duncan and me together.
That would be rad.
That'd be
Let's
rad.
yeah, let's do it. You guys can like do the town hall live from a like poker table or something.
No,
No, from the
no.
slot machines.
Yes, yes. You hear the clicking constantly in the background.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you're gonna love it. It's Las Vegas is ridiculous. All right. Should we close it out?
Yeah, we do.
All right. I'll give a shout out to the legends that have joined us. Greg, I think that's pretty cool that you wrote a book about Bitaxe. I'd definitely be interested. I think you could post it. You could post it in the in on OSMU. I don't know what channel is appropriate, but
Probably
you
the
know,
general
if
channel.
it's yeah, put it in the general channel. Yeah, I know I'd be interested in hearing about it. If it's about Bitaxe, that's open source mining, so that's on topic. So go ahead, do that. That'd be rad. Cool to hear about that. Synthetic division. Hey man, I hope that my rambling explanation of copyright and trademark made some sense. Animal, what's up? Animal with a 1 instead of an I. Good to see you. K1, what's up, dude? I well, I'm excited to see the board that you're posting pictures of, and that the KiCad importer for Altium schematics that works pretty well. Just saying, KiCad, you might want to take a look again. Version 10 just out. It's pretty hot. Ben, what's up? I feel like I talk to Ben all the time, so it has not been a while, but good to see you here. Thanks for joining us. Keep up the good work. Developer Algo, good to see you again, buddy. Hope you're well. Edu Pidu. Edup Edu. Is it Edup Edu? That'd be pretty cool. Good to see you, buddy. Sean and Tommy G from IX Tech. I posted this on Twitter, but you guys make the most beautiful looking bit axes. I don't know how you keep coming up with it, but these things are absolutely fire. I love to see it. I like all your home mining posts on Twitter. You guys are crushing it. Keep up the good work. And last but not least is Hexfox, our new what do we call them? We don't call them core contributors. We call it
Maintainer.
Bitaxe from ESP Miner maintainer. Dude, so stoked to have you on board. Appreciate all the work that you've done. And yes, we do have Learn Me a Bitcoin. That's a pretty cool site. You should check it out. Yeah, with that, thank you all for joining us so much. This has been a great town hall. Oh, wait, you know what? I need to give a shout out to Wankler. Dude, this guy has been with OSMU since the very beginning, is running this fantastic town hall. He shows up here every other week, gets it done. I can't wait to see you in like a week and a half in Vegas. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you. All right. Good night to everybody.
Later.